My name is Stuart.
I'm a PhD student in American Studies.
I'm a PhD student in American Studies.
Today's People's University
Today's People's University
is held in front of Stern Business School because we believe Stern students and professors can benefit from our model of popular education. Our speakers will describe how the last few decades of explosive financial growth and the creation of too big to fail have failed the working class and the business class alike. Today's business students face exploitation and immiseration. Just like so many other members of the 99%. But now it is the 99% that has realized who really is too big to fail. Please join me in welcoming Randy Martin, Professor of Art and Public Policy at Tisch. And Renee Poitevin, Assistant Professor at Gallatin. Thank you.
Wait, look up at the sky. Not a bird. Not a plane. It's finance crashing. And that's the way it was. It seemed like this crisis came out of nowhere. Even the Queen of England begged her advisors to tell her why no one saw it coming. But indeed the models had failed. As had the experts. And the knowledge that finance depended upon came crumbling down. Now, this didn't happen all at once. Every major turn of capitalism has come with a financial crisis. And dating back to the 15th century, there's been a squeeze on the middle class, such as it was, to grease those wheels. But let's go back to the early 70s, to a particular kind of ruin, when the architecture that was erected to keep the world in financial exchange itself came crashing down. Those agreements, often known as Bretton Woods, tried to give a stable anchor, consolidated by a secure welfare state. But when that crumbled, and the center didn't hold, what was unleashed was a whole plethora of financial innovations and ruined ground. Real estate speculation, union busting, erosion of social benefits became the rule of the next decades. At the same time, movements around the world for decolonization were making their voices heard. Out of those ruins, then, came many of the forms of popular response. Popular culture here in the United States. Popular culture here in the United States,
such as hip-hop and boarding culture,
such as hip-hop and boarding culture,
that literally moved across those ruins.
that literally moved across those ruins.
And revolutions around the world.
And revolutions around the world.
Vietnam,
Nicaragua, Mozambique,
showed what was emerging from those fissures. Meanwhile, back here, there was a makeover of what we understood as the welfare state.
Of what we understood as the welfare state.
What was once to protect
And
be the province of security.
Became an engine.
For transferring
risk to the population.
And instead of a middle class,
we saw great cleavage.
Between those who could handle that risk.
And profit handsomely.
And those vast populations. Who were called the at-risk. The policy terms for these populations. Was voiced as warfare. War on youth. War on crime. War on drugs. War on culture. And
eventually.
A war on terror.
All combating shadowy networks.
That had been released from this security. A
parallel story.
Can be told for major industry.
What was once a relatively stable separation
between manufacturing and finance
also fell
with the fall of Bretton Woods.
And the increasing risk
of manufacturing companies
like General Motors and General Electric
saw them getting their major profits
from their financial divisions.
The instrument
for trying to set the world to right
in financial terms
was the derivative.
The derivative has become the new gold standard.
Seeking to make equivalent
all kinds of attributes
that have nothing to do with each other. The derivative is a way of ensuring against risk. That removes knowledge
of who holds that risk.
The financial crisis that we saw
Was the consequence
of the protections
against risk,
creating extreme
and ungovernable volatility.
At the same time,
The derivative
asked that we act upon the future
now in the present.
it suggests
That
capitalism itself
has given up on its utopian promises.
That tomorrow
Will necessarily be better than today. That action upon risk in the present makes the hero of capital the arbitrager, the one who works on minor differences
in order to exploit
their
volatility.
We might say
that that is also the course
of direct action,
of occupation,
of grassroots mobilization.
And so this movement of financialization has unleashed
a double stream of debt.
A double stream of debt.
A massive transfer.
A massive transfer
Of public funds.
of public funds.
$14 trillion.
$14 trillion.
The equivalent of the nation's gross domestic product.
Of the nation's gross domestic product.
That have gone from public coffers.
That have gone from public coffers
To private hands.
to private hands.
Without any corresponding responsibility.
Without any corresponding responsibility.
Finance aggregates money.
Finance aggregates money
Without any particular purpose.
without any particular purpose.
It is for us now.
It is for us now,
Through our own derivative acts.
through our own derivative acts,
Through our own capacities of leverage.
through our own capacities of leverage,
Through our own mutual indebtedness.
through our own mutual indebtedness,
To ask what we might do.
to ask what we might do
With those vast sums.
with those vast sums
That are hiding.
that are hiding
In plain sight.
in plain sight. Woo! That's Randy Martin.
We're here today
We're here today
to talk about the social movement
to talk about the social movement
that is sweeping across this nation
that is sweeping across this nation
and all across the world.
and all across the world.
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street!
What makes this movement powerful
What makes this movement powerful
is its moral clarity.
is its moral clarity.
That too many people are being treated unfairly
That too many people are being treated unfairly,
and too many people are being treated unjustly.
and too many people are being treated unjustly.
So what Occupy Wall Street does
So what Occupy Wall Street does
is that it poses a radical challenge to us
is that it poses a radical challenge to us
as a generation.
as a generation.
We are saying loud and clear
We are saying loud and clear
that unregulated markets become destructive forces,
that unregulated markets become destructive forces,
that unregulated markets
that unregulated markets
create havoc and destruction.
create havoc and destruction.
So the generational challenge
So the generational challenge
that Occupy Wall Street
that Occupy Wall Street
is posing to us
is posing to us
is that the time has come
is that the time has come
when we held our government accountable
when we hold our government accountable
and we reclaim what people power is all about.
and we reclaim what people power is all about.
Occupy Wall Street
Occupy Wall Street
is saying in many forms
is saying in many forms
that we deserve living wages,
that we deserve living
that
wages,
we deserve affordable education,
that we deserve affordable education,
that we deserve quality housing,
that we deserve quality housing,
and that we require immigration reform.
and that we require immigration reform.
In the last 7 weeks,
In the last 7 weeks,
there have been over 600 protests
there have been over 600 protests
around the U.S.
around the U.S.
and several hundred more
and several hundred more
around the world
around the world
in solidarity with Occupy Wall Street.
in solidarity with Occupy Wall Street.
And what we are saying now
What we are saying now
to the powers that be
to the powers that be
is that if we can bail out Wall Street,
is that if we can bail out Wall Street,
we can bail out workers.
we can bail out workers.
If we can forgive banks,
If we can forgive banks,
we can certainly forgive student loans.
we can certainly forgive student loans.
Thank you. And that's the generational challenge
And that's the generational challenge
that we are stepping on and saying yes.
that we are stepping on and saying yes.
So it is in this spirit
It is in this spirit
that we are saying
That we are saying.
That from Stern Plaza
That.
to Zuccotti Plaza.
That from Stern Plaza to Zuccotti Plaza.
And from New York to Tokyo.
And from New York to Tokyo.
That we are going to change the way things are.
That we are going to change the way things are.
So let's have a conversation.
So let's have a conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.